Hey all, welcome to our lab on cell diversity. This lab is going to have a big component that's online where you're looking at pictures of cells and pictures of slides and things like that. But there's also going to be an activity portion where I'm asking you to actually visit a site and collect some pond water, and hopefully we can find some specimens in that pond water. So once you go to the pond, you're going to need some supplies to collect that pond water. I recommend a little water bottle, something that's used and empty that you can collect a small amount of pond water and then take that to wherever you're going to make your observations. This will allow you to work further away from the pond at your own leisure. So you'll need a water bottle. You'll need your digital microscope. This is something that you should already have and you should already be somewhat familiar with how to use it. But the digital microscope is essentially a tool that will hook up to your device, iOS or Android, and it'll allow you to look at really small organisms. You might want to make an observation dish, somewhere where you can pour your sample in and then make observations from this dish. This dish was made from an old plastic cup. I just cut the top off, and now I have a way to kind of hold those organisms temporarily. And I'll place that underneath this digital microscope platform, and that'll be kind of the area that I'm making my observations from. Here I am next to my local pond, and this is where I'm going to be looking for microorganisms for our microorganism and cell diversity lab. So this might look like a pond that you find around your house. Maybe your pond looks a little bit different, but most ponds are going to have a couple of different areas where you can collect from. Here there's an area in the center that's pretty clear. There's not a lot of stuff in it. Towards the edge is a sandy area here, which is pretty clear as well. But what I'm looking for is an area that is kind of grimy. It has some algae growing. It has a lot of microorganisms, things that are growing, things that are moving around. Probably the worst water to drink. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And so for that, I'm going to move over here to the right where we have some plant growth and we can see some algae growing. This to me is going to be a good spot to find microorganisms. Maybe I can even find a underwater rock that has some algae growing on it and scrape a little off of that, things like that. So get your container and go to the edge of the water. And this is where you're going to collect from, somewhere like this. I would actually want a place that's a little more filled with algae than this, but for the example, this will be fine. So take my container, I'm going to fill it, try to get some grime in there. That looks good. This should be plenty of water to start exploring. So I don't know if you can see it, but this water has a bunch of little specks in it. And already I can see some movement in here. There's little tiny organisms moving around. So these are what I'm going to be looking at using the digital microscope. Here I have my digital microscope ready to go, and I have that observation tray, that little dish that I made out of an old cup that I just cut the top off of. This can be clear or it can be colored, doesn't really matter. This is the sample that I collected from the pond. Now I'm going to pour a bit of this water into the observation tray, but not too much, about 3 to 4 millimeters of water. And the reason is that if it's too deep, then it'll be hard to focus on the different microorganisms. As they move up and down the water column, they'll go out of focus really fast. And so you just want enough water to cover the bottom. And if you don't find anything in the tray the first time, just dump that water out and pour a little bit more water. That'll make things a lot easier on you. Now that I have that tray ready to go, I'm going to put that under my digital microscope. And now I'm going to start looking around and seeing if I can't find some kind of microorganism. Once you find something, try to identify it. And the microorganism that's the smallest and most confidently identified is the one that you're going to want to share. So if you find something and you're pretty sure you know what it is, that's going to be the microorganism that you want to take a picture of, and you want to upload that to the forum and share with the rest of the class. That's the process. I hope y'all have a great time, and I can't wait to see what y'all find.